Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bow and Arrow Tarot. This is the fourth episode of my series called Toxic Love. So today, what we're going to do is get into 3 random signs, and I'm going to pull them from my deck of signs here, my 12 cards. Lay these out. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and read for those 3 signs, provide a toxic love reading. So this is going to be a shadow reading into a connection that is toxic. All right. This is specifically a shadow reading. So it's going to get quite deep and involved. All right. These can be difficult readings, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into pulling out the signs for today. Okay. Take these away. This is the third one and the second one. And the very first sign coming out as we dive right into it, pulling out my shadow deck here, is going to be Capricorn. All right, so we're going to be reading the first toxic love reading we're going to be doing is for Capricorn and a particular individual in their life that they have a toxic connection with. And we're just going to take a look at what's going on. What's the toxicity here, right? What's really happening, and perhaps look at what options, opportunities are coming in to get out of it, all right? So toxic love connection for Capricorn and a person in their life. Take a moment, a breath, sit back, relax. Again, I do say these darker readings, the shadow readings, can get tough because we're looking specifically at quite negative aspects of a connection, right? So they can be tough on both sides. But let's go ahead and cut your deck. We're going to be getting right into pulling cards for you and for this toxic individual. So we'll put Capricorn right there to remind you viewers which one we're reading for. And let's get right into it. First of all, for you, Capricorn, the Tower, the Empress, Knight of Swords energy, and 4 of Wands. Your person comes in with, let's put this all up so we have room. Knight of Wands, Hanged Man energy, Ace of Pentacles, and Queen of Swords. The bottom of the deck, we have a 2 of Pentacles. So for those of you who are used to my readings, or you've been checking out my readings for the last few weeks, 2 of Pentacles is showing up for all of the readings. Every day it shows up, at least for a couple of the readings. Doesn't matter what deck I'm using. And of course, here you go. You have 2 of Pentacles again. Really just speaking to the fact that right now everyone is juggling. Everyone is quite busy, right? Handling a lot, keeping a lot of balls in the air. All right. So let's get right into it. Capricorn, you're coming in with Tower energy and they are Knight of Wands. So right away, there's been a shock to your system. Something has happened. I'm going to say Hanged Man energy. Wow. Something has really happened in terms of a real shock to everything that you were kind of believing in, thinking about, right? An event has come in with this individual. I'm going to be pulling clarifiers, of course. And I'm going to say, it's definitely down to your individual causing this event because they're coming in with Knight of Wands. So while you're going through something that is quite like shocking, keeps coming to mind, just shocking, stunning information coming in, it kind of turns your whole world upside down. This individual that you have this toxic connection with, toxic love connection with, is really the master of puppets behind the scenes. They're the ones orchestrating everything. They're the ones sort of, putting all of the wheels in motion, right? They know what's going on. They're on top of everything, right? Very selfish energy is here. How do you see them? As Empress, they see you as Hanged Man. So this individual is somebody who doesn't, they don't have a lot of respect for you, right? Hanged Man energy, they really feels to me like they began at some point. Who knows if this started out, we're going to go deeper. This may have started out as a loving, fine relationship, but somewhere along the line, this individual you're dealing with just began to look down on you. They began to see you as somebody who was perhaps lazy or unwilling to move. You know what I mean? They've just really begun to I think there might be some resentment that has come in as well. You see them as Empress energy, so you're kind of seeing them always luxuriating. They're doing very well for themselves. And, there almost seems to be a difference of money here as well. You have Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Swords. There could very well be an issue to do here with them having more money than you, or sort of, lauding over you, something like that. Let's go a little bit deeper. Death, big change. Yeah, huge change. Something has definitely happened between the two of you that's brought about like a total change in the relationship. It's like a real eye opener. It's like suddenly you see each other for who you are. Justice is coming in. There's definitely sort of a rebalancing that's happening, that's coming in. I want to say that this, you may be dealing with somebody who's very materialistic, Capricorn, right? Yeah, you have, I think that for quite some time you've been feeling things have been going wrong here. Like there's just been little things that have been happening in this connection that has really started to sort of pique your curiosity, and not in a good way. You just started to feel things are off. And now I'm going to say over this next period, usually these readings that I do each week, they're really over the following week to 2 to 3 weeks. And most of these readings are coming on the end of a situation that's been going on in the past for at least several weeks or months. And I'm going to say here, it feels very much like, yeah, for quite some time, even maybe for a couple of months, you've been feeling quite at odds about the way things have been going with your person. It's almost as though they've been very aloof with you. They've been very much like just in their own sort of, they're doing really nice things for themselves, right? They're really sort of into themselves right now, and sort of pampering themselves. But there's a distance here between the two of you. You feel it. Then comes in this Tower moment. Something really severe happens. Something is said or something is done that really makes you realize how much this person actually resents you. Two of Pentacles coming out again. So Two of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles. A lot of balls are in the air. You may be figuring out that your person is dealing with a lot of different people or a lot of different situations, right? They've got their fingers in a few different pies. They definitely, I'm going to say, for some of you, it could very well be that you're the one who has the money, right? For some of you, the message is coming in that you're the one, Capricorn, because of course, anyway, Capricorn, you're the hard worker, you're about your paper, earth sign, right? But it feels here that for some of you, indeed, you're really the one who does have the money, and yet some games were played here because of resentment. It could be a lot of jealousy on their part. Them luxuriating like this could very well be on your dime, on your coin. You're the one paying for it. Because when they see this relationship, they definitely see, I'm going to say, financial financial increase, right? They see money when they look at this relationship. So for some of you, Capricorn, you're the one with the purse strings, and somewhere along the line, you're realizing you're dealing with somebody who's been using you, who really doesn't, who kind of really disrespects you in a way. Or at least they harbor disrespectful feelings about you. They may not be telling you because they're getting money out of you. And you're kind of like, hang on a second, you're finding yourself in this connection with them, feeling like you have to do a lot of defensiveness, like a lot of defense moves. You have to defend yourself against a lot of things that they're saying. It's very much a gaslighting situation in this toxic connection. Right? It's a feeling of like you have somebody making you feel bad, right? Or you really sort of bringing a lot of darkness to you, negativity to you, to bring you down, when in actuality they're siphoning off of you, they're living off of you. You're the one paying some of the bills. You're the one like making sure that they're doing well, that they're living well, right? And then suddenly you find out that, this Tower moment is deep. You may find out that some of the money you were giving them, they were given to other people or dealing with other. There you go. And there's the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, for some of you, the money you were giving them to help them out, to enjoy themselves, all of that, to pamper them, they went ahead and spread that money around with their friends and their buddies, or maybe a side piece. You know, Six of Pentacles is there, right? So they're sharing out that wealth. And when they look at you, they see just this, this bottomless sort of cup of coin, right? And I think that now this is all coming out, right? It's all very much coming out. King of Swords, you're realizing now there have to be some serious boundaries. These boundaries are absolutely going to have to do with money, Capricorn. There's definitely going to be some karma that comes in for them. Justice is also about karma being leveled. Yeah, some of you are very much dealing with somebody who has, they've been very sort of dishonest about what they've been getting up to. They've been very toxic and First of all, feels like there's a lot of gaslighting here, right? It feels like they're certainly trying to get you to believe that they're doing well, they're working a lot, they're doing all of this stuff, but at the same time, they just need a little bit of help. You're providing that help. For some of you, that help, monetary help, financial stability that you're providing to them, they're providing to others. So they're taking care of their homies or their friends or their side pieces with your coin. And at the same time, because you're facilitating all of that and sort of in their minds being a sucker, there's not a whole lot of respect here deep down inside, and they begin to act out more and more and more on this viewpoint they have. And eventually, I feel like over this next week or two, Capricorn, some things are going to happen and get said and happen and are done that make you feel like, oh my God, you really are trying to play me. You're really trying to get over on me. And it's going to be a full change to this connection. I think you're going to put some major boundaries in place. You might even break up with them. You might even cut them off. But the toxicity here is real. You're definitely dealing, one more card, dealing with somebody who, and this one too, Sun, clarity comes in. You're definitely dealing with somebody who is a disruptor, an antagonizer. This person thinks nothing of sort of arguing in such a way that they always win, even though the argument makes no sense. You know what I mean? They have a lot of narcissistic gaslighting tendencies in the way that they interact. So you feel like you feel like you're never playing fairly, or they're never playing fairly. You're never on fair ground, right? You can never get anywhere with them. So you're dealing with somebody who's got a lot of toxic sort of energy, narcissistic energy. And more importantly, the real crux of this toxic connection, Capricorn, is that they're using you for your money. And when you find this out, it's going to be something. I mean, the shock is something. And they're going to be forced to have to show their true colors. They're going to be forced to show their true colors. There's a victory coming up for you, where you definitely are going to come out on top and sort of feel like, oh, okay, see, you're going to get your victory back, in as much as the person you're dealing with, whatever dishonesty they've been peddling and sort of double lives they've been trying to lead is all going to come out. It's all going to come out. Let's pull some twin flame journey cards to see what other dark energies are here on this connection. This is a very toxic, opportunistic, using type person. These are the type of personalities that are prone to theft. They're prone to third-party energy, cheating. There really is no honor here with somebody who resonates with this energy. And, helping them only makes them sort of, it furthers their disrespect and disdain, because they come from a place where, you're not supposed to help people. Everything is about getting over. Everything is about taking advantage. So, if you helping them in their eyes makes you seem weak, and them taking advantage of it in their eyes makes them seem strong. That's the type of person you're dealing with. Foolish. Insecure. Let's get one more. Walking away. Exactly. Foolish. That's perhaps how you feel. That's going to be the tower moment that comes up for you. That feeling of foolishness. Like, oh my God, did I really fall for that? They were lying to me this whole time, and I'm just taking care of them. Sorry, my camera's not focusing. Then you have insecure, okay? Being insecure. I think that's the energy as well that you're dealing with from this individual. They're a very insecure person. Again, that's where the gaslighting comes in. They're trying to make you feel like something's wrong with you, when in actuality, you're the one taking care of them. They're the ones who are coming from this like really dark place, right? And so that's the gaslighting, right? Trying to make you feel bad about yourself. The foolishness, how you feel, definitely some of you are going to feel like, oh man, I really fell for it with this individual. And the walking away is there, okay? The walking away is there because you're going to be ready to walk away. You're going to be ready to say, oh no, I'm done with this, right? Like I said, that King of Swords is coming in because you're going to be like, oh no, I'm laying down the law. Like, I'm putting some boundaries in place. You're not going to just keep getting over on me, taking advantage of me. That's not going to happen. This is, yeah, cut them loose. If you're resonating with this Capricorn, and High Priestess is there, she rarely shows up. That means you're really, there's a gut feeling in you, and that you know what's going on. Deep down inside, you know what's going on. You know what this person is doing. But this event that comes in that really rocks you is going to be like the final straw. And it's at that point that it'll be high time for you to say, oh no, I'm done. Let's pull a couple of more. Rain. Let the rain come in. And the Mad Woman. See? Right? Watch out for this energy coming in, the Mad Woman. That can happen. People will take you to a place where you just are crazy. And that oftentimes comes when somebody takes advantage of you, takes advantage of your kindness, mistakes your kindness for weakness. They can, listen, that stuff can drive you crazy. And the rain is coming in. Rain, rain, rain. It's dark times. It's sad. It feels any toxicity, even if it's to a point of getting you to a place where you are going to get rid of it or you're going to sort of exercise it and try to heal from it. There's still sadness, melancholy. The rain still comes, and the rain needs to come for the cleansing, right? In order to cleanse it, the rain has to come. All right. So dark, listen, we've all been there. We've all been played. I don't care who you are. At some point in your life, you've dealt with somebody who's really taken advantage of you. And the best thing, if you're resonating with this reading, Capricorn, is to put them boundaries in place, cut off the funds, cut off the source of funds, and force this individual to come out in the light of day. You know what I'm saying? Show their true cards to everyone so they can go ahead and have to deal with the consequences of their actions. All right, guys. So let's pull this up. This was your reading, Capricorn. Pull up these, and we're going to get into the second card for this Toxic Love, the fourth episode of Toxic Love. Every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do this reading where we look into specifically a toxic relationship that a particular element, a sign, energy has with somebody. These readings can resonate with you even if you have a moon in Capricorn or a sun, just not only a sun, but a moon, a rising, a Venus, or a Mars, right? So you may be cross-watching as well. You may be dealing with a Capricorn. Let's go ahead and shuffle these cards and do a little. Get that energy out. All right. So the next one, we're going to take Capricorn away. We're going to be reading for Pisces. Wow. All right, Pisces, you're up next. Let's go ahead and get ready. Take a moment to meditate on that energy from that card. And again, some of you are coming to this reading. We don't know what signs we're reading for. Remember that these, it's not all about the sun sign. You may be dealing with somebody who has a Pisces Mars, who has a Venus in Pisces, who has a Pisces rising or a moon in Pisces, right? You yourself may have that astrological sort of coordination in your chart. So whatever the case is, you've been brought here for this, okay? So let's get into it. We're going to cut your deck. Leave Pisces right there. And get into your toxic love reading for this period. All right. Pisces, you come out with 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords, a Tower, and a 6 of Wands. Okay. Wow. Death, the Magician, 10 of Cups, and 3 of Cups. Bottom of the deck, the Sun for your particular situation. Okay. Get that? This camera drives me nuts. So, wow, you're coming in with some hard energy, Pisces. A lot of sleepless nights. A lot of anxiety. Your person is coming in sort of death energy. They're ready to throw it all away. They're throwing everything away. They're saying goodbye to it all. Big change for your person. But your anxiety is high. You know, your anxiety is very, very high. Something is happening here because when you see your person, you're thinking of like treachery and sort of dishonesty, but it's your anxiety that's high. Listen, you know, I have to be real in these readings, right? Is it you, Pisces? Did you do something? Because your person is coming in with death energy. They're ready to make a full transformational change here. They're ready to turn their back and leave and let something end. And I think it's this connection with you. When they see you as somebody who is a master sort of manipulator, somebody who is, really good at everything they do. And yet, you are coming in, Pisces, with a lot of grief, anxiety, fear. It almost feels as though you feel guilty about something that you've done. There's a lot of guilt here, and there's a lot of treachery. Seven of Swords and listen, it's the type of treachery that comes and bites you in the ass. You can see that from the imagery there, right? It's like you're trying to achieve something. In this relationship connection here, Pisces, it may be that you just try to achieve something without putting the work in, and it's coming back to bite you in the ass. You know what I'm saying? It could be that, you tried to cut some corners, right? And use some methods to cut some corners in some respect, and it's really turned out not very good. Right? It's turned out in such a way that you've come off as some kind of a manipulator. It's interesting because the person you're dealing with really cares for you. This relationship with you was really serious for them. Nevertheless, you're experiencing a shocking moment when it comes to the relationship, coupled with that anxiety. You know, it almost feels to me like it almost feels to me like in this scenario, this is a toxic situation where somebody was really, really dishonest with the other person. I do feel it was you in this scenario, Pisces. You've done something, maybe not particularly meant to hurt them, or we're not talking about cheating or something, but something went on here where you really sort of like took the low road instead of the high road. And your person is responding by saying, oh no, your person is responding by saying no more. They don't, and there's death coming out again. So they're responding with a full change. They don't want to engage with you on the level that you were engaging before. Something definitely went on. It's completely changed their mind about this relationship, even though for them it was a love. Yeah, they felt love and connection. Definitely felt a lot of sort of faded energy, but you might be dealing with somebody who's also like, well, I don't give a shit. If this is what they're going to do to me, because they feel whatever happened here, it feels definitely like it's on your side, Pisces. It's like it's come into them. They're the ones who've then put in a position where they've had to put boundaries in place and be like, oh, hang on a second. You're not going to take advantage of me. You know what I mean? And what happens is it's like the shock comes in for you because, listen, I feel like this is also one of those toxic connections where you guys have been going back and forth for quite some time. Going back and forth with each other. And you really didn't expect them to actually leave and turn their back because they really love you. But you're dealing with somebody who's absolutely able to do that. Yep, Ten of Cups. So this is the second card, I think, that's been confirmed. Ten of Cups over Ten of Cups. So there's love here. You guys listen, I'm going to say some of you've been together with this person in a proper relationship, in love, happy, living together, working together, maybe married. But now there's a tower moment coming in because of this toxicity. And it involves a pattern of behavior that's been going on for a while. I think that perhaps you have been used to, and again, like I say, this could be a vice versa situation, Pisces, but you've been used to sort of behave a certain way and sort of cut corners in the past with this relationship. Needed a sip of coffee. And this time things have been different and something's changed. And you're nervous about it because your person has completely changed. Something's died here. Ended. And I'm going to say it might be the last shred of trust that there is between you. Because listen, if you have a pattern of a certain kind of behavior, even if it isn't the worst, most toxic behavior, but it's just like a pattern of, being dishonest or disloyal or anything in any little way, but it's just consistent, it's enough to tear the relationship apart. And your shocking moment is that they're absolutely willing to walk away from this. Sun energy comes in to bring clarity and growth. How this turns out, for some of you, there is a victory moment in as much as you may be able to redeem yourself because of this tower moment. You may be able to redeem yourself in the eyes of this relationship to kind of bring it back. Your person is kind of like taking their leave and going off and doing their own thing. There's a big change for them. You guys might not be breaking up. This is the interesting thing here. There's toxicity here in this relationship, but I don't necessarily think you guys are breaking up. I think, though, there's a change that's happening in the way your person feels towards you, is acting towards you, is communicating with you. They're being much stricter, much colder. They're doing a lot more on their own. They're coming out, they're hanging out with their own friends more. You have 3 cards, re-clarified, 10 of Cups, Sun, and Death. So there's a love connection here, I think, that's still here. And that's still like, I don't think it's as bad as, we're going to leave and break up with each other. But I do feel like there's been a huge change. There's been like a power shift in this relationship. Your person is no longer sort of the forgiver and let's go back to whatever. They're like, they may not have forgiven you this time. They may not be forgiving you this time. They're not ready to leave. You guys aren't breaking up. This still feels like a long-term connection, but they're kind of like, yeah, I'm going to go do my own thing for a little while. Guarded. Yes, they're guarded. Faithless. And dependency. So this is some of the energies that are coming in. Guarded. Your person may be a lot more guarded with you. They're just not going to let you in like they did before. You know how it is, those relationships where the trust is deep, and they talk to you, and then all of a sudden when a person shuts that off, you feel that. You know something's not right. You know what I mean? You know that they're pulling away. Faithless. Okay? There may have been, this may be one of the issues here. It may be that you play around a little bit or somebody, vice versa again. But the individual, you or your person is always playing around just a little bit, flirting just a little bit, just, doing a little bit of shade on the side, cutting corners, that behavior of like, I'm going to take risks, but what risks get you in the end, And it's just gone on long enough. And now your person doesn't trust you. They're pulling away. But like I said, this feels like a long-term relationship. Some of you may have been in this connection for a really, really long time. But this pattern of behavior is starting to take its toll and turn this relationship into a real toxic mess, dependent. All right? So there's a dependency here. And I feel that also, in as much as Pisces, the shock for you is that when your person starts to walk away, that shock that's coming in, that tower moment, when your person starts to, maybe not, like I said, leave the relationship, but distance themselves emotionally, you begin to feel some pangs because you're very dependent on them, right? Even though these games are being played, even though you continue to play these games, you're very dependent on them. You love them. They love you. But this is this is not really so much about a case of not loving your person or not wanting to be with them. It's just a case of continuing to act like a fool and thinking you're going to get away with it. The feeding. Yep. And the infant. There you go. Stop acting like a baby. Stop acting immature. Stop wanting your cake and eating it too. Stop doing things that are detrimental to this relationship. Right? The feeding. Okay, and stop, that's all about having your ego fed, you don't want to be wrong. You don't want to face up to the consequences. Your person is like, okay, this is what you want to do. That's cool. But something's going to change around here and I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and go out and do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Socialize with friends. I'm going to increase my workload. Why should I be home? Your person is instigating some changes in the relationship that they never did before. And you always was like, oh, they'll forgive me, they'll forgive me. It's one of those scenarios. Oh, they'll forgive me, they'll forgive me. But the truth of the matter is that they're not really forgiving you this time. They're not leaving. They're not willing to break it up. But you're like in the kind of doghouse, the type of doghouse you're in right now. It's rocky. You don't know what's going to happen. They're still trying to actually make up their mind. For some of you, they're just like, okay, I'm not ready to make a decision just yet. Let me go ahead and, shore up some of my freedom, do my own thing for a little while, find my own happiness, because I'm not playing around with you over here who just manipulate me and do the same thing over and over. And I'm going to decide what I'm going to do, right? Now, there is a sign of victory here for you, Pisces, but that involves clarity and coming out and truly showing that the earlier ways, or that you're truly, this can't just be a half-assed sort of apology. Let's go back to what we always do. This is going to require true honesty and clarity coming in for you to possibly find a victory here and change this around, in as much as, you don't want your partner be slowly but surely pulling away from you, All right, guys, this is it, Pisces. This is your reading. I'm going to go ahead, give you a minute with these cards and the layout. All right. A lot of cards re-clarified. Strong message. And then we're going to go ahead into the third and final sign for today, the fourth episode of Toxic Love. So each week we pull 3 signs that I read for, and where we're looking at specifically a toxic connection that they have with somebody and what's going on in that toxic connection. Let's go ahead and shuffle this for a little while with Pisces going back, clear the energy, and get ready into the third reading. So we've done Capricorn, Pisces. Let's see. We'll take them away. And who's next? Scorpio. Wow. All right. 2 water signs today, along with an earth sign, Capricorn. All right, Scorpio, you ready for this dark reading, this shadow reading about a toxic connection you have with someone in your life? Let's cut your deck. I'm going to put you right here. I'm going to get ready to take a little sip of water. All right, Scorpio, let's get into it. 3 of Cups, Lovers, okay. Wow, 5 of Wands, and 8 of Pentacles. Work. Oh, 6 of Pentacles. 6 of Pentacles. The Tower, 3 of Wands, and the King of Cups. All right. Bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Wands. Okay, so new connection, new fire, new sort of energy coming in, new passion coming in. King of Cups energy, 3 of Wands. Okay, so listen, Scorpio, this is interesting. We're going to get some clarifying. You've been going out with friends, socializing, hanging out, being amongst your tribe, right? Very much. I love this 3 of Cups. Very much amongst your tribe of people, your friends, your people, like communicating, partying, hanging out, energy, right? That's what you've been up to lately. That's the energy you're bringing into this. Your person, 6 of Pentacles, there's somebody who's quite, they got a little bit of money. They like to hang out. They like to buy rounds of drinks for people. They're also hanging out and socializing. They're very much sort of the money, they're coming in, coming off with, money, affluence to a degree, a little bit of, they may be a little bit popular amongst your social scene, not the party animal per se, but everybody wants to hang out with them, mostly because of, the money that they toss around and spend. All right. But now how you guys come into each other, Scorpio, you see them as a possible love connection. And for them, they're seeing you as like a tower moment. I don't necessarily think that this is a relationship you've been in for a while. I think this is really, really new. You see, you both come into each other and it's like bang. But for them, it's a real shock. They're not necessarily ready to get involved in anything with you. I mean, I think they're more shocked to be connected with you or to find a connection with you. You immediately are looking at them as lovers. You're looking at them as a potential mate. But this is where it starts to get shadowy. You know, they're not necessarily interested. You know, they're doing their own thing. You coming into them is quite a shock, and they're not giving you any answers, and it's beginning to drive you crazy. As far as you're concerned, you're beginning to start to feel very aggressive about it. Five of Wands is coming in. There's a lot of sort of angst amongst people, your friends. You may be in a lot of sort of, I want to say, friction, strife with your friends or the people around you, or people that may be suitors for this individual. The toxicity here feels like it's one of jealousy. Okay, the passion is strong here, Scorpio, but the jealousy is also strong. And it's making you even more jealous because they're not answering. Yeah, it's making you more jealous because they're not answering you. You feel like you want them to be yours. You're ready to fight for them. Yep. And this is on the heels of a breakup. So, Scorpio, you're probably reeling from a really bad breakup. For some of you, this is an ex. For some of you, this is an ex who just they don't necessarily want to be back with you. They're not sure. They may be giving you some sort of mixed messages. Yeah, they're giving you, it feels like mixed messages because they're really being tempered. Temperance is coming in. They're being really tempered about their feelings for you. They're not coming right out and saying anything. You're like, hey, let's hook up. And for some of you, let's get back together. Let's get back together. And they're like, I don't know. And in the meantime, you're feeling like desperate almost to get them back. Definitely for some of you, this is an old lover. Okay? But you're not together now, right? That's the energy that I feel. It's not like you're back together now. It's like you're run into each other. And for them, it might be quite the shock, Tower energy. It might be quite shocking to be like, oh my God, oh, you're here, and you run into them and you're like, oh, my love, and immediately you fall into this stormy kind of, all engines go forward momentum of trying to get your person back, and they're not necessarily there for it yet, and so there's some squabbles, there's some fights, you get into some issues with people that they may be dating or people you think are interested in them. There's a lot of jealousy here. Death comes in again. Big change. There's a huge change that's happened here, right? There's probably been a lot of time that's gone on between the two of you. They're new. They're like onto something new, and you're definitely trying to rekindle something. Yeah, you're definitely trying to rekindle something with them. It could be that for some of you, this is not an ex and this is just somebody new. But if it's somebody new, you're really going, Scorpio, the toxicity here is that you're going extremely overboard and obsessive on them very quickly. The reason why? Because of a previous breakup. Right? And so this is kind of like an obsessive rebound for you. For some of you where this connection is not from the past, where this is a new connection, you're falling into a rebound scenario because of having broken up recently with a difficult connection. Some of you, this is an ex. Either case, they're not giving you what you want. They're not giving you the energy you want. They don't, they're not talking to you or answering you. They're waiting for whatever you have to say first. You say what you want to say, and then they're thinking about saying something back. They don't have much of a response for you. They're quite busy with their own life. You feel like it's a real chore to have to get, you've taken it upon yourself to make it sort of your job to get them back with you, but they don't necessarily want it. They're very strong about who and what they want. Right? And so some of you, Eight of Pentacles is there also, Scorpio, some of you may be diving into work to get your paper up because you believe that this is what's going to do it. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. It feels very fated for you. You feel like, and they're happy where they're at. So yeah, you're dealing, Scorpio, there's toxicity here because there's, to a certain degree, an inability to let go of the past. There's also some unrealistic expectations here. about, you getting this person back, or if, as I say, if this is someone you knew, getting this person to be with you at all very quickly, and they're just more kind of shocked at all of this energy coming at them. Okay, they really are, and they're like tempering themselves. They don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to say anything bad. But I don't necessarily feel that they are all that interested in something, in a connection with you, and that's really difficult to take. I know that that's difficult for anybody to take, and we all go through that. Where at some point we're into somebody more than they are to us, but they're just not that into you. And there's a lot of strong energy coming from you in their direction, and a lot of angst, difficult, arguing, bitter, fighting energy when it comes, in terms of jealousy and envy and pride, being jealous about other people that they may be dealing with, or other people who are talking to them. Let's get some projecting, void, and self-indulgent. There you go. Well, projecting energy coming in, Scorpio, like projecting your own sort of hang-ups and issues on this, or they, and again, this could be vice versa. Scorpio, you may be going through this from somebody else, and they're trying to get you, and you're not there for it. Whatever the case is, that's the dynamic here in this toxic relationship. Void. There's nothing there. On one person's part in this connection, whether it's you or the other person, there's nothing there for them. It's for them, if it's void. It's like they're not there for you. They're not there for this. It's not that the feelings aren't. There isn't even a sliver of a desire to connect, right? A lot of the motions that this individual here is taking is really just to be courteous and not to be rude, to be polite, but to politely be like, okay. It's like you want to spend time with them. Oh, I'm busy. I'm sorry, I'm busy. They're not trying to say, no, I don't want to spend time with you. They're not trying to be harsh like that. But in fact, for some of you, that's how they feel. But they're trying to be quite sort of measured. And then we have self-indulgent. And self-indulgence comes in a lot of ways. You can be self-indulgent with your feelings and get into your feelings without considering another person's feelings. There's a self-indulgence here in terms of, just single-mindedly going after what you want, regardless of what the other person wants. So this is a strange kind of like, I want to say a very sort of stalky, self-indulgent, sort of aggressive toxicity. The plant and the cyclist. Yeah, there you go. The plant and the cyclist just riding around in circles, and the plant. Okay, nothing there. There's nothing there. Nothing energy. Right? This feels very one-sided. It feels obsessive for no reason. It feels very self-indulgent and, I'm going to say, aggressive. It feels, and the plant, that's such an interesting card to come out, because it's this kind of like, well, I have nothing, I have nothing to say good or bad. I just am. And it's like, it almost feels strangely like this is how your person is feeling right now. Very much like not, they don't dislike you. They don't like you. They just can't even really sort of, they're just not connected to you in any way to form any real opinion. At all, either way, or desire either way. Like, it's just, there's such a void here of any kind of connection between the two of you, and yet you Scorpio on this end, and again it could be vice versa, are kind of compulsively finding or obsessively trying to find ways to come into them. And the latest way will be through money, looking to see, well, if I bring in enough money, maybe then I can attract them. But for right now, the toxicity is real. It's one-sided. I'm going to say this is tough. There's a lot of projecting going on here, and it really requires a lot of realization, some introspection about why you're doing the things you're doing, right? Some self-awareness, and really, instead of projecting, but looking out to see, hey, this person that I'm desperately trying to get with or get back, are they really even interested in coming back? You know, you have to have someone interested in the dream to make the dream work. It can't just be your dream, because they are coming in and they're quite happy where they're at. They're happy with the money they have. They're happy where they're at. They're happy with their connections. And so it just feels to me like this is a very sort of, again, self-indulgent sort of exercise that is happening on your part, Scorpio. Alrighty, I am going to call this a reading. This is the third and final reading for today, Monday episode of Toxic Love, right? This is the fourth episode we read for Capricorn, Pisces, and now Scorpio. Take a moment to look at the cards. Yeah, I always, I tell you guys that the toxic love readings are difficult because we're talking about toxic love. And of course, the message can turn out, it can be on either side where the toxicity begins or, we level out. But here on this end, I made it quite clear what we're looking at. Okay, so difficult time for some self-reflection, time to pull back perhaps and take a moment, take a breath, and really take a look at what you truly desire. All right, guys, this is it. Thank you so much for joining me for this fourth episode of Toxic Love. Every Monday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we will be live streaming 3 signs, toxic love reading, for those 3 signs. So I'll see you guys back tomorrow morning for Tuesday air, where I'll be reading for all the air signs, and then in the evening where I'll be doing all the love readings, general love readings for the air signs. You can check my homepage for the schedule. There's a little intro video on my homepage, which will give you the full schedule of all the days that I live stream and the times that I live stream. I'm on a very sort of set schedule. All right, guys, so you can check that out. And I do hope to see you there. But for right now, Capricorn, Pisces, Scorpio, and all your cross watchers and everyone else who is here, thank you so much. I wish you all love, light, and happiness. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and possibly hit that notification so you can be told when I'm live streaming. And that's it. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you guys in your next reading. This is Bow and Arrow Tarot. Bye-bye now.